Latif Nsesongba of Prayer Cathedral and his wife Mary of Prayer Cathedral on their 38th wedding anniversary. May God bless them with every blessing to enable them serve him better. Say a big amen to that. We're good to go live? Okay. The guys tell me we are good to go live. So right after I'll be dropping your 2 for Tuesday tracks. Yes, right here on the iMDrive. Letitia, good morning.
Good morning, Jenny.
How's that? You're looking so colorful this morning. I'm like, Jennifer, you should have thrown in a bit more color today.
It makes me happy.
No, I mean, when I saw you, I was happy. I mean, the happiness got thrown onto me. We are live on Facebook. You can join us, Sunny FM Facebook page. Also on YouTube. Why not share the link, all right, to encourage someone to be a blessing to someone also. So share. We are live with Letitia Ohene-Effah, and I absolutely love this woman. She's intelligent, she's beautiful, she loves the Lord, and she loves to see women empowered. I just love you, Letitia, and I'm excited about us having you on Start Right this year. But how do you feel about being a part of Start Right this year as one of our renowned speakers?
I wasn't part of it last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels humbling. I think for me, I don't take any of these spaces for granted. It's sharing space with somebody is a lot because we're now associated, and therefore energy transfers are taking place, etc. So I really do honor these spaces, and I don't take them for granted at all. So I'm looking forward to learning as well as sharing, because we're all learning. The world is changing every single day. So you cannot stay put and think that everything is okay. So I'm excited about it.
It's very unfortunate when you think everything's okay and wake up and after 5 years, like, oh my, everybody around me knew this and I did not know. I was trying to figure life out by myself, do things by myself. This morning as I was driving, I was just thinking about Start Right, and I think there's a proverb that came to mind. It says, Nyansa ni baku futim. I don't know if I've quoted it right, but yes.
I don't know, but
something along those lines. Please, if you know, you can give us the actual lines for that one. But for me, it was just about Start Right, how I'm getting to gather wisdom from all these amazing speakers we have on board, including you. And this morning, we're talking about how we can maximize our potential. I remember I was at a conference last year. One of the speakers called me aside after, says, Jennifer, I've seen this about you. I've seen that about you. I think there's more you can do with it. And maybe like you, like me, you've heard someone else tell you same, or you've discovered same about yourself. But first, let's talk about when we see a potential. What exactly is a potential?
All right, so for those of you listening, there's a book, Miles Monroe has a book called Maximizing Potential. And in that book, just to answer your question, he talks about a seed not being a seed, but look at a seed as a forest. So the potential of a seed is a forest, right? So that once you've planted it, or you plant multiples of it, and then you're consistent with it, you're pruning, etc., then it maximizes that potential. Otherwise, it could also just die. The seed could die and never experience its potential. So for me, that's the essence of potential. So for example, a caterpillar turns into a butterfly. It could remain
beautiful
a caterpillar.
Butterfly.
Yeah. And we all love it. Yeah. But we don't like caterpillars. Some of us run away from it, sadly. So that's a potential. So we all have a potential in us to be and become bigger than what we even conceive. So how do you think through it and become that bigger? So that's what it is. That's how I look at it. So if you look at even this, one of the things I like is Sunny's a Christian platform. So I can say this, but Joseph, for example, wasn't a dreamer. His potential was a prime minister. David's potential was that of a king, not a shepherd. But he started as a shepherd, right? Yeah. Joseph started as interpretation of dreams and just basically being paying attention to his own work. So he was being very deliberate about the work he was doing, and therefore was given more responsibility as he went along. So this is what I think about potential and then the magnitude of it and how we can all decide that we're bigger and better than who we say that we are, and we could redefine or reframe that judgment for ourselves.
Wow. You're listening to the iMDrive. This is Sunny 88.7 FM. We are live. We're on Facebook, or we're on YouTube as well, with Letitia Ohene-Effah. She's one of our announced speakers for this year. Letitia has a multi-purpose greatness guide, and I love how the couch when you go onto their website, she gives you the permission to live your truest, higher self every day. If there's a friend of yours who's been talking about, I want to discover my, my true self, function at my topmost, you want to tell them to listen to Sunny right now. And we're talking about maximizing our potential. I love what you're sharing about Joseph and David. And let's talk about the how. The how. Yes, you can join in. You can drop a question if you have one below the live feed. You can also send in a WhatsApp 0540-130-684. Letitia is the co-founder of LeadAfrique International.
Jennifer, before we go to the how, let's do a little bit of context.
Yeah.
So there's a changing world dynamics, right, and a world order. There are a number of things happening all around us. If Ghana has changed in the last 15 years, for those who keep returning to Ghana every year, they're amazed at the changes that they see. Now, some of those could be positive, some could be negative. That notwithstanding, all over the world, and especially since COVID, the world has changed dramatically. So really, we're doing ourselves a disservice if we say that we're remaining the same, right? So, for example, 20% of everything that you and I know today will not look the same in 6 months. It will look a little bit differently because there are wars and more wars coming as projected. There's a number of climate change. Tomorrow you switch on the television and there's some fire, there's a volcano going on somewhere. I think in the last 2 months or 6 weeks, there's been like 3 or 4 volcanoes in Iceland. How is that even a thing? And these are people who are prepared for it. They actually get excited apparently about it. But this time around, they've had to relocate people. So things are changing. It's not the same anymore. It's said that 10 years from today, about 45% of what we know today will not exist. What do you want to do about it? So it's important that we recognize that we understand why we must change and why we must work towards maximizing our potential. Yeah, so that's what I want to say. And for most people listening to us, in business, we will do like a whole political analysis, environmental analysis, because it all changes and it has an impact on the future of where we will live tomorrow. AI is changing the dynamics, our whole paradigm this time around. Once upon a time, you needed people to write. Now they're all going on AI, so why do you need them? For example, what value can they bring to the table if I can go on AI and get the answers myself? So you might as well just make sure that you've sharpened your edge so that you can bring more value than what AI will do.
And as Letitia is talking about this, I'm just reminded to let you know that Bright Logic will be touching on how we can build resilient businesses in this artificial intelligence era. So definitely it's in order and it's in line. Please go ahead, Letitia.
That's very important, yeah. So being resilient, I think it's the in word everywhere this year, learning to be resilient as you move forward. So how do you do this? First and foremost, if you've watched The Matrix, it's like one of my favorite movies of all time. If you haven't watched it, there's a part where Morpheus gives Neo, and if you haven't watched it, please go and watch it.
You can make some time to watch it after this morning.
To take a red pill or a blue pill. Now, what does the red pill represent? It represents possibility, right? Infinite possibilities. So you're exploring new territories, etc. And the blue pill basically says, remain where you are, don't even bother. And then, like Benjamin Franklin says, you'd be 25, but you're dead, and you'll be buried at 75. I don't think people should want to do that. So yes, you're willing, you're able, you're capable, but are you willing? I think for me it's a question. Are you willing to maximize your potential? And in the interest of time, there's just 4 things I would want to share.
Sure. Just before you go ahead with that, I have a message here. Can you please get me to WhatsApp? I think some of our listeners are taking notes. Says, my catch, we are bigger and better than who we say we are. Yes. You can share your notes with us as you're listening. Please go ahead, Letitia.
So the gap, we're going to talk about the gap between potential and the maximization of it. And how do you get there? Just 4 points. Number 1 is that you must establish healthy mindset and belief systems. Number 2 is that you should invest in yourself. I can't say that enough. Invest in yourself. Number 3 is that pay attention to the utility of your time. And number 4 is that you should be consistent. So let's start with number 1. And it's a very simple thing. Basically, we've all bought into multiple narratives. Most of it we bought into before we were 7. And this is where we take most of our decisions from, right? And we don't even know them. Most of it is lost to us because it's not part of our everyday consciousness. It's buried somewhere in our subconscious, but every decision that we take is made from that place of belief. So to maximize your potential, you need to now begin to unravel and uncover that which is and which is forming a part of your mindset. So I would say, for example, that for you to establish a healthy mindset, you can Google fixed versus growth mindset by Carol Dweck. And basically all she says is that for majority of us, we like to avoid challenges. Challenges are good. And again, because I'm on a Christian station, I will say this. This is one of my aha moments in life, especially as a business person, was that one day I was reading the Bible and it occurred to me that right in Genesis, it says, in the beginning, the world was without form and the Spirit of the Lord was hovering, right? So the way I see it as a growth mindset is that whenever I wake up in the morning or I enter any matrix, there's a possibility that there's darkness hovering. But I'm not alone because the Spirit of God is with me, and therefore I can co-create with the Spirit of God. Now that changes everything. It changes my paradigm from who did this and why, and I don't do those anymore. Because I know that my purpose is to bring some form of order into that chaos. So I'm calmer and I'm asking myself, what must I do? And then I co-create with God, bring light, separate myself from the darkness into light. And not just me, but everyone around me at that time. So that's what we're asking you to do. Whatever your fixed mindset is, you can figure out where is this coming from. It's more powerful if you can understand the root cause of it. Because then when you reframe it for yourself, it stays, right? But even if you don't know, you can just reframe your judgment. Simple things we say to ourselves every single day, especially a lot of cliches. Some doesn't come to mind, but it will come and we'll say. And then, so that's like challenging situations. So now viewing challenging situations as opportunities, from moving from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. Some of it is about the fact that intelligence doesn't change, right? So you're born, let's use temperaments, for example. You're born as sanguine and you can never change. But you can work on the disadvantages or negative parts of a sanguine person and therefore evolve so you can change. So you're not static as a person, you can change. So begin to move and shift from the fixed mindset, whatever that fixed mindset is, to a growth mindset. So these are just 2 examples to help you understand what I mean by that. The other thing, for example, is a lot of people are afraid of public speaking, right? So they're going to speak, and sometimes even just to talk to 3-4 people.
It's a problem.
It's a problem for some people and a number of people. But you can simply tell yourself that, I have something to say and the people want to hear it. That changes your paradigm. It changes your entire makeup. And therefore, it brings you the confidence to be able to share more. So work on your mindset. Try and understand, what is the mindset that I'm operating with? Is it healthy? What's the belief system that this mindset is rooted in? And how do I begin to basically pluck myself from it, where you're plucking yourself from darkness to light. So that's one of the things that you can do for yourself in terms of moving from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. And you do this along every single domain of your life, because it's your belief systems that have attracted certain outcomes onto you today, in your finances, in the work that you do, everywhere you are. So try and begin to change it. If you want different results, you cannot use the same approach to achieve it. So number two,
be upset you're getting the same results.
Yeah. Number two is that invest in yourself. Be a student of life, and mostly your own life. You know, most of us have been taught that schooling or education is just going into a classroom, right? And I think too many of us missed too many things, especially children, during the COVID era, because that was such a teaching moment. But most of us lost it because we were waiting for them to go back into a semblance of a classroom. But life in itself teaches us every single day. What are you learning? What's going on around you? So learn, relearn, and learn. What has currently, decide, for example, that you're going to develop new skills. You're going to enhance your new skills. There may be skills and capabilities or talents that are currently dormant, and you're not using them anymore. How do you enhance them and begin to use them? There's a gentleman, Emmanuel Ofosu-Yeboah, a Ghanaian, who is currently a disability rights activist. I actually wonder if he lives in Ghana anymore. But he rode his bicycle, I think, in 2001 across Ghana to bring attention to the plight of the disabled. Guess what? After he did that, he gained access to the world stage. He met Oprah. He's had lunch with a number of the presidents across the globe. So you have to do something, right? Just because of your disability, whatever disability it is, you can do something.
I saw a picture this morning that a woman had shared of another lady. She's a doctor, a medical doctor with a disability. Yeah.
And most of us have disability in different forms.
One way or the other, yeah.
You need to figure out, most of it doesn't look like what we think disability is, but you can have it in any different form. Find it and then decide that I will do something about it. But for you to even find it and work on yourself, I would suggest that people keep a journal. Keep a journal for like a month. In that journal, what you're doing is you're auditing the thought processes, because you want to pattern interrupt them and reframe them. It won't just happen. So pay attention to this. You're auditing how you're using your time. You're auditing some of the words that you speak. You're auditing because they're affirmations, right? So you want to make sure that if you want to maximize your potential, then you're being more deliberate about the words that you use. You want to audit how you're spending your money. You want to audit the kinds of conversations you're having with people, your circle of influence. So just keep a journal for a month. And now ask yourself, will this take me where I want to go? Will this move me from a dream interpreter to a prime minister? Will this move me from a shepherd boy to a king? And if it won't, then it means you need to take some decisions and take some corrective actions.
Remember, we are live on Facebook and on YouTube as well. Join in the conversation. You have a question, you can send in and share the link so another person can also be blessed as they are trying to figure out how to maximize their potential, be their highest self this new year, 2024. Please go ahead, Letitia.
All right, so I think that there are a number of questions you can ask yourself. For example, who do I want to become? Who have I become? Because you're not a baby anymore.
No.
So who have you become? And even if you're a baby, if you're one, you've become somebody who you were not born the way you are today. So who have you become? What is your reason for being? What does your potential mean? What could you what could you possibly achieve that you haven't conceptualized yet? Okay, and then one of my favorite questions ever is that if you could live without any restrictions, if you knew you wouldn't fail, what would you do today and why?
think it's becoming my favorite question as well, because I'm beginning to imagine.
Yeah. So if you know you won't fail, what would you do today? That's a powerful question to ask yourself. And it's even important to ask yourself every day.
Every day.
Well, how would you live? And for me, I like to see it. So I like to write a story about how you'd live today. For morning, what you'd wear, what you'd eat, what you'd be very specific. And account for every second of your day. And we'll talk about it a bit more when we get to time utility, which is next. So answer that question, because that question gives you your why. And when it's applied your why to you, it is your why that would wake you up in the middle of the night when you don't feel like it. That's your why. So there are a number of things. We all don't feel like doing a lot of things. Even the most people who have reached their potential, they didn't start out that way. Even today, they don't wake up and think that I want to take an ice bath. It's a decision, and they do it. So there are things that you can do, and I'll share a few of those if we have some time. But there are a number of things that you can do to motivate yourself and to discipline yourself to take action in the right direction. Once you've figured out what you want to do, really, truly, then set some goals around it. Michael talked about goals when he was here.
Yes.
Set some goals around it. You have multiple domains of your life. You can Google the Wheel of Life and now begin to understand who you are and have become in each of these domains, and then set goals around what you want to become in these domains. And one of the things I like to do as part of my daily routine is to be grateful, right? So I got here this morning. I was grateful that I was able to get here without any challenges. And I try my very best to honor that and to speak it out, because it's important. Gratitude unlocks multiple doors of opportunity.
It does.
So find something to be grateful for. That you're even awake. Even when you have a headache, you're awake. So there's a possibility that that headache can go away. You have the solution for it. So be grateful for something. Find 3 things to be grateful for at any given point in time, because then it helps you to, it's basically more like a springboard to push you forward. Number 3 is that you make the most of your 24 hours. This is like my favorite part, right? It doesn't matter where you are. 24 hours is all you have. Some people divide the 24 hours into 3 parts. So there's the 8 where we claim we're working, and I say claim, I'll come to it. And then there's the 8 where we all still claim we're sleeping. And then there's the 8 the majority of us cannot account for.
Okay.
Right? So what happens to the first 8 where we're sleeping? For some of us, we have activated our neurosystems in a way that we can't even sleep and have a peaceful sleep at night. Our mind doesn't rest. So there's a difference between sleep and rest. So you're asleep, but you haven't rested. So you wake up and you're still tired, right? So there's that. And then there's also the 8 when we're working. My observation in most places I've been to is that people get to the office. So let's say you get to the office around 8, right? Then we'll check in from office to office. Now, this is not everybody, but sadly, majority of us do it. You go to office by office, checking in with everybody else, and then now you're going to discuss what you're having for breakfast. By the time you've discussed and agreed and bought the food and eaten, you've spent like 90 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
So you start work at like 9:30 instead of 8 o'clock. Then around 11, you're back to lunch conversation. You finally have the lunch, settle back at your desk at 1. At 4, you start to pack to go home at 5. What have you done? That won't help you to maximize your potential, because you've literally wasted all those days, all those hours. Then there's the 8 that most of us cannot account for either, where majority of people, when you is correctly invested, you can make a lot of, you can maximize your potential. So somebody will say, but I stay in traffic for 3 hours. I know. I live in Adenta, so what did I do this morning? You came to meet me here, right?
Yes. You were packed here,
I came to park because I would rather not spend that time in the traffic. I would rather work. So it took me about 40 minutes to get here. I parked and I got some work done. So then I've done at least 90 minutes of work, which I would have spent in traffic, right? So there are things that you can do to help yourself. And then some of us will say it's very stressful. Yes, it's stressful, but that decision to leave my home just before 6,
it makes a lot of
difference. Saved me that stress. So there's so much we can do to support us in this space. So you can keep a calendar, for example. I don't do just an 8-hour calendar. I do a 24-hour calendar so that I can even schedule the times I eat and the times.
Wow, you do all that?
Yeah, because I noticed that when I don't and I start putting on weight, it means I'm not eating when I'm supposed to eat.
Okay.
Which means that I've allowed work to take over, right? But when my phone or my laptop blinks or prompts me, then I know I'm supposed to go do something. So it's part of the way that I block my units of work. So when I say block units of work, for example, you have a proposal. You know it might take you about 2 hours to do the proposal, right? Depending on your role at work, you can negotiate with your colleagues. I don't want any disturbances for 2 hours. In that 2 hours, just sit there because you've blocked the time. Focus on it. Do as much as you can in the 2 hours. Then you can take a break. So begin to work within units of work because every unit of work that begins must be completed. So work within those. If you're like those of us, if you're managing a business, etc., the distractions are many. But also find a way. And some of those ways is to buying back some of the time, like I would rather not stay in traffic, I will be here. Something must change. What is that thing for you? And how do you make sure that you're utilizing your 24 hours appropriately or to your advantage in order to maximize most of what you want to do? Remember that everybody has 144 minutes and 86,400 seconds. Make it count. Make it count. Even if it means you have to sleep, because some of us are sleep deprived. Yes. So make it count.
Yes.
And the final one is to be consistent.
Okay.
The fourth one, be consistent. So the first was to basically begin to develop a healthy mindset and belief system. The second was that you focus on yourself. So invest in yourself. The third is to utilize your 24 hours correctly. And the fourth one is to be consistent. One of my bosses once said that, actually always says, that little drops of water evaporates, right? So I was talking about cliches earlier. This is one. Most of us will say little drops of water makes a mighty ocean. That's what we've heard.
A lot more of that.
Yeah, but little drops of water does not make a mighty ocean. It evaporates. Little consistent drops of water, though, can make a mighty ocean. So consistency is key. And we must pay attention to how consistent we can be in this life that we're in, so that we can make a mighty ocean. How do you stay consistent if you want to maximize your potential? I think you can get a coach. Get mentors. I'm very mindful about saying people should get mentors because they choose somebody and they learn every single thing about the person.
Even the ones that are not working.
I know, right? So I'm always careful and I cringe when I'm saying it. Please decide. Remember that you've decided who you want to become, right? That potential that you seek. So based on those potentials, there's something that you must work on. There's something that you must develop in you. That's the thing that you're looking for in this mentor. Then you're looking for a coach who should be able to guide you there. You can also get an accountability partner, somebody who will look you straight in the eye and tell you that, this is an excuse. So do better.
After all the long talk, they look at your face and just say, masa.
Just say. My daughter will say, fix yourself. Fix yourself. Because you know how to fix yourself. And they're simple little things. So you don't want to do work. There's something called the 5-second rule. So it's like launching, you count backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then you launch. Right? So you know you're getting stuck in a certain routine and you want to take yourself out of it so that you can be a little bit more disciplined in your promises to yourself. This is one of the ways you re-engineer your mind and you shift. So let's assume that your alarm went off. You've done the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you're tempted to go back to sleep.
And I'm smiling right now.
A
little bit more sleep. Oh, wait, you're trimming out of pain.
So you get up, but you're sitting on the edge of the bed. It's likely that you go back to bed.
Oh, yes.
So there's another thing you have to do. You need to get up.
Okay.
And walk. So it's a 60 seconds. So just walk to the washroom, go out of your room, do something that will basically get you out of that sleepy mood. Sometimes you can even just simply rub your face or your eyes very gently so you're not hurting your eye. There's your ear, you can rub it. So there are multiple things that you can do to help yourself
up.
To get out of that state. And then so that's one that I think that people can learn to use so that you're more consistent. So I'm feeling lazy about doing this one particular thing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What do you tell yourself? How do you affirm, re-engineer, reframe whatever is going on with you at that particular moment?
As I'm listening to you, I'm gathering that our self-talk is very important.
It is. You know, we talk to ourselves more than we talk to anybody else. But we don't know. Yeah.
You're listening to the iMDrive. There's a sunny 88.7 FM. I think someone was asking about the name of the movie you mentioned. That is Matrix,
the Matrix,
right? Yeah.
Yes.
I think some people haven't seen it yet, so go catch the Matrix.
I think it's the very first one.
Okay.
I didn't like the sequels much.
The sequels,
it was the very first one. Yeah.
There are very few people I've met who sort of enjoy the Matrix. You're one of them. But you talked about how it's important we invest in ourselves, and this year we are bringing Start Right. Would you say it's one of the ways that people can take an opportunity to invest themselves,
Jennifer,
invest in themselves? What would you have to say about
Absolutely. I talked about coaches. I talked about accountability partners. I talked about mentors. This is a platform where you can begin to initiate that, right? So there are about 5 or 6 speakers in one room for a day. All you're doing is investing one day, 86,400 seconds. And it's not even up to that because you won't be there. Like, it's just basically 4-5 hours.
Yeah, from 8:30 to 3:30 we are done.
Yeah.
5
That's
to 6
it.
you're done.
So even if you're spending 6 hours, let's say from your waking up hours to when you get back home, you're spending 8 or 10 hours on yourself. It's the best investment you can give yourself. So how do you come with some objectives, right? Don't just come and listen.
Okay.
So everybody is going to talk about something, and I think one of the things you've done, Sunny has done, is that you've had all the panelists on this program, on the Start Right program.
So far, yes.
So everybody has given you an idea of what you can expect.
In fact, so let us know what you're going to be touching on as we get into that area, so we can know how to prepare our objectives for your session as well.
For our session. So, for example,
session.
We're going to talk about establishing family values, right? We all operate from, I already talked about the fact that we all operate with certain belief systems already. So, and whether you know it or not, it is there. It's in the background. It's like opening your laptop and realizing that there are some apps running behind the scenes. So there's a value system that you're working with, but it's not quite established. You haven't thought about it yet. I smile when I hear people say things like, my value is A, B, C, D, E. And then the next moment, they will make a statement that is completely in misalignment with their value, or that they will do something that is completely in misalignment with their value. But it's subjective, because you decided that respect for you means that somebody came and put their hands on their back. Respect for me means that you don't waste my time. So if I have a meeting with you, you better be on time. Because then you're putting me in a very compromising situation. Then again, because I know it, I found a way to work on myself.
Okay.
So I work. I do things. So I always make sure I have a phone.
Maximize the time.
Yes. I have a phone that I can work with and work from, and I have something that I can do, so that I'm not allowing you to trigger me in a way that I know is not appropriate or I don't want.
Okay.
So see, respect could be mean different things for different people. Now, you want to know in any family setting, when Jennifer says respect, or Jessica says respect, what does it mean to her? What does it mean to Letitia? What does it mean to the next person? Now, together, what do we want it to mean? Remember that in a family setting, everybody has a purpose, right? So I may have been born to, or my daughter may have been born into the Ohene-Effah family, but she has a unique purpose for her life. These are guiding principles. It doesn't take her away from having her own value. Now, how do you live it? How does it sound? When you speak, what does it sound like? When you show up, how do you show up? What does it look like? So we will go into details and support families to understand what their true values are. And then how do you even create convergence with family and come up with a set of family values that will not conflict with your personal values.
Wow.
But will help you to work together as a family and grow better together. So those are the things that we're going to look at.
So one of the things you've been thinking about this year is how we can grow together as a family. And for me, Letitia, I'm excited about those who are yet to have, those who are about to begin their families. Because this morning when I was driving, that's one of the things I'm learning from you and Michael. I wish I'd learned them much earlier. I'm now having some conversations with my husband. We're now trying to put a few things together. I wish we'd known them much earlier. So for me, it's a great opportunity for those who are about to start their families. You want to come in and learn about these things and start having some of these conversations now, even before you enter into the family unit. You're listening to the iMDrive. This is Sunny 88.7 FM. Letitia, who are you hoping to see at this conference?
Who? Everybody. Like I said, there's a young gentleman who attended one of our goal-setting masterclasses when he was about 13. Oh. So he was in junior high when he attended
a goal-setting masterclass.
Yes.
Where was I when I was 13?
He was
I don't think I was attending.
And today,
goal-setting masterclass.
It has guided his footsteps. He's like 20-something today. And he's doing exceptionally well because he's been deliberate about his choices. So, for example, school is important, please don't get me wrong. But he noticed his path and where he wants to go. So he decided, for example, that I'm not doing uni, at least not now. This is the path that I'm going to go into, IT space, and I'm there now. But it's because he's been setting his goals and evaluating it consistently. Just because you set your goals this year doesn't mean you don't set them next year. In fact, you must evaluate them. You must use that to develop your 24-hour calendars on a regular basis, a weekly basis. Every month you must evaluate it. Every quarter, especially if it's a family setting, you must evaluate it. Every 6 months, you must evaluate it. Because you need to know where you're going. And you need to know things happen. You run into a pothole.
A lot of things happen along the way.
You ran into a pothole. You got flooded out. Something. So whatever, something changes. Why? The moment you walk out of your house, you don't re-enter the house the same person.
I have a message from Jonah. Says, consistently and passionately believing, acting, and self-talking his promises delivers you from keeping your eyes on the prevailing conditions. The word still works, and there's value in you. This one says, anything is possible in the Matrix.
Yes,
that's a Matrix lover right there. Says, I enjoy the first one too. I enjoy the first one too. Can't wait for Saturday. If you just joined in the conversation, okay, KKJ just sent me a snapshot about investing in yourself. It's a bit far from my screen. I'll zoom in so I can see that to share with you all. But Letitia will be joining us at Start Right conference together with Michael, and they'll be touching on shared values for family success. So I don't see how you can wake up on Saturday. How you can decide today that on Saturday you want to just wake up and it's like every other Saturday has been. No. If you want to see this year different, roll out different, turn out differently for you, we are hoping to see you at Start Right. And don't come alone. I mean, this morning I was thinking about how you're talking about family values. It's nice if the couple come together.
It's important, actually.
Maybe I should let you shed light on that. Yeah.
It's important if you do. If you're a couple, please do come together. If you have a funeral, unless it's your, like, the closest of relatives, you can reschedule it and then come together. Begin to plan together. There's so much that we all don't know. And then it's a good opportunity to find out, to ask questions, deep questions, and some of them will be there. So some questions you can do one-on-ones so that it's not, if you're not comfortable asking these questions in plenary, you can ask it on a one-on-one basis with the couple, as a couple, and then get some answers. Somewhere. You can, so please do come together so we can support you to figure out how you were all nurtured differently, grew up differently, have different dreams, but how do you still retain your dreams but come together as a couple to grow each other?
I can't wait for Saturday. I don't know many of you are fired up for Saturday, but I am. I mean, this year it's going to be a little different. We will not have a panel discussion. Right after each person's session, you have some good time to throw your questions at them, each and every one of our speakers. So Letitia and Michael are done. You have about 15 to how many minutes? Whatever questions you have, we're throwing it at them. And I trust, I love that. I've been praying this morning about Star. I'm like, God, we want your presence at Start Right. So as the questions are coming, you're directing our speakers as to how to address them, that you're speaking to us concerning our unique circumstances as our speakers drop what they have first.
And I like that very much, that prayer. So for everybody listening who's thinking about coming, it's like the water turning into wine, right? Yeah. So get some water, which is your objectives. Why are you coming? First and foremost, do register. Okay. And then when you've registered, you need to make sure so that's your first vessel, right? And then now you need your water, which are your objectives. And then come and see what the Lord will do for you.
And I trust it's going to be doing so much. So you're listening to us, you're thinking, yes, Jennifer, I was sort of sitting on the fence, but this morning, I want to come to Start Right. I want 27 to be a different year. And I want to look back in December 2024 and say, you know what? It's good you made this decision for yourself in January. It's 400 cities per participant. And as much as we're encouraging couples to come together, so we have a discount package for couples. When you dial *887 *273, when we're saying couple, it doesn't have to be married couples. Maybe you're about to. It can be you and a friend. It can be you and a brother, you and a sister, you and your mom, you and your dad. Maybe you're an uncle and auntie. You're just coming together for Start Right.
You can even buy it for somebody who's thinking about getting married. Somebody you're thinking about getting married. So come for the couple.
You could be affecting generations if they're learning about family values now. So it's *887 *273 hash. *887 *273 hash. Rate is 400 cities, is inclusive of your lunch. And Letitia, we've been talking about the parents out there with children who don't know what we're like, Jennifer, what do we do with our children? We are providing help. Okay, so come with them. Just let us know their ages. All right, just a token, but they also get to have some good lunch and they'll be taken care of well. So you can give Sika a call.
Really well with that. I remember you did that with the couples retreat.
Well. I saw Sika taking them on tours. My son was excited about seeing fish in the pond at Aqua Safari. He talks about Aqua Safari till today. So we are recognizing each and every time we put these events together that we are indeed a family station. The families are listening to us, and so the children, we have to make something available for the children so the parents can come and they don't have to. They can concentrate at the conference. So you can call Sika right now. Let's know the ages of the children, how many have to come with. 0545 2233 24 0545 223324. Thank you to our amazing sponsors, IT Consortium, Solutions That Work, supporting sponsors Apollonia City and Wetties Ghana. Letitia, Saturday. Godwin Saturday.
We'll see you on Saturday.
Stay with us right here on the iMDrive, trying to pull out what Michael also has to say about Saturday.
Do you aspire to have a healthy, happy, successful home? How do you engineer the behaviors that will ensure you achieve this? Do you have the tools, the strategies, and the techniques for achieving this? How do you have a home underpinned by family values? For answers to this,